Okay, this is going to be a video on the installation of a tactical bolt knob that was put on this Ruger Hawkeye. This is the finished result, and the video will cover, the steps I took and some of the materials and whatnot to get to this tactical bolt knob. I really like this one. It's smooth, it's easy and fast for follow-up shots. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the next steps on how to get this put on your rifle. I'm really happy with how it came out. It matches the rifle a lot better than the original. Kind of gives it a two-tone look with the stainless handle and then the tack latch on there. So we'll get into this now. Okay, so here we got the majority of the bolt latch knob cut off, and so now we're going to prep it for threading for the new tack latch. It's going to be a smooth one that we're going to put on. So yeah, so I'll show it after before we prep it for threading, and then when we thread it, and then I'll show you how we're going to attach the knob to the shank here. Okay, so here we have the tack latch. We've cut off the sides of the original ball and we've ground it down to a shank, and now we're going to go ahead and thread the shank on there, and then we'll put the tack latch on. So I'm going to stop it here and then show it after it's been threaded. This one is a 5/8 24 thread that we're going to be putting on. 5/8 24. Okay, so we've got this threaded down. It's not the prettiest thread job, but it'll work. I'm going to go ahead and thread this on. I added a little bit of oil. I think I'm going to take the top of the shank, just square it up a little bit, but it threads on there really good. And then what I'll show is when we do the epoxy, so we'll be able to get it down almost all the way. Yeah, so that's about as far as it'll go, and you could still see some of the threads. So what we're going to do is we're going to I'm going to kind of square up the top of the shank. I'll bring it back. I'm going to square it up, and then we're going to thread it all the way on and get the epoxy ready and get this this tack latch completely added on there so it'll look nice, and we'll show you here in a little bit how it comes out. Thanks. Okay, so after the tack latch went on and we squared up the butt end of it, we're going to go ahead and smooth file the base right around this area here because there's still some thread showing. So I'm going to smooth file that down, and then we'll go ahead and get the epoxy and put the tack latch on so you can take a look at it. But we are going to smooth out probably about 2 lines of that threading right there to kind of smooth it out so it doesn't, it's a nice transition. And we'll show some pics when we're done. Okay, so we got the tack latch on there. We cleaned up the edge right next to the top of the tack latch. You can see there, I'll move it around so you can see it. We just did some light filing, and probably I don't know, I might clean that up just a little bit more and then get it epoxied, but it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. So that's 5/8 24 thread on the tack latch, and you can see some of the file marks on there, but it looks pretty clean. I'm happy with it. I think most importantly, it's going to function well, and it's a smooth tack knob, which I prefer because it's easier for fast, rapid follow-up shots. I like the smooth versus the machine textured. Unless I'm wearing gloves, then the textured or knurled knobs tend to work a little bit better for me, but it's kind of a personal preference. A lot of folks like the knurled knobs. I prefer the smooth ones because most of the time I'm shooting without gloves on. So anyway, that's how she looks threaded on there. It's still not epoxied, so we'll go ahead and film the epoxy, and I'll show you which one we use, which is super strong. It's the one that the knife makers use, and that won't be coming off there anytime soon. All right, so the epoxy that I like to use, I mean, I'm sure there's folks out there that'll have a lot of different opinions on this, JB Weld and whatnot. But from talking to several knife makers and just having had some personal experience, this System 3 T88 is just super strong. It's a structural epoxy, high performance. It works really great. I highly recommend it. It's so you have the part A, which is the hardener, and then the part B, and then the part A is the resin. So this is the part A, the resin, and then part B is the hardener. And it's not going to take much to get this tack latch knob properly installed on the threaded stub there that we've got. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up the epoxy and then thread it on, and then I'll come back once everything's set and I've got the excess wiped off, and we'll go from there. But yeah, so System 3 T88, it's good stuff. Highly recommend it. Thanks. All right, so here we got the epoxy. Mixed up a little bit of extra, but I've got the tack latch is on there. It's threaded on, and I'm going to let the epoxy sit. You can see where I kind of where I sanded down at the top there, because I brought the threads down a little bit too far, but it looks really good. I'm real happy with it, and I think it's going to work great. So we'll let the epoxy fully cure. I think it's 72 hours to fully cure, but it'll be dry to the touch in 24 hours, and then it's fully cured in 72. So that's it pretty much. I'll show it on the gun later and do a summary, but that's pretty simple, easy process to get the tack latch on. So all right, so here it is all done. I got the tack latch on there, and really like it. It matches the gun a little bit better than just the standard round ball. It's kind of a matte black. I believe this one, I'll put the link, but it's a Badger Ordance is the maker of the tack knob for this. And this is a Ruger Hawkeye, so I really wanted something that was smooth and easy for follow-up shots. This is a 6.5 PRC. So that's pretty much it right there. That's the new latch, and that was a pretty simple, easy process. And again, you don't necessarily need to use that high-strength structural epoxy. I'm sure something like a JB Weld and such would work fine too. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and this is Weapons Free out.